Hey everyone, it's DinaKalmeta here. And before I jump into the news, I just wanted to bring you guys a quick update. I have a feeling as to why I've been so censored here on YouTube, and it has to do with that particular country, unfortunately. In fact, I am not the only person that has been censored when they talk about this particular country. So I'm not going to stop talking about them. But I am going to include that segment of the show at my Rumble channel. So I highly encourage you guys to go over to Rumble, subscribe to the channel, because we never know what's going to happen from day to day. So you will be able to find me over there. And I am looking into ways with Michael Parker to have my shows also broadcasted on my website. So that can be another option potentially in the near future. So with that said, today's show, a portion of it will be on Rumble. Unfortunately, it's really sad that we have to do this because to me, this is more signs of Christian persecution because as we all know, that country is the apple of God's eye. So they're suppressing our speech even now. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into the news. I'd like to start with this first report written by Michael Schneider of the Most Important News. And the headline reads, "While Americans sleep, there is concern that Canada, the United Kingdom, and Europe continue to implement the beast system." So he goes on to say, would you like to live in a country where the government could secretly cut off your phone and internet service if you are accused of spreading misinformation? Or how about a country where you must submit to a digital identification system if you want to get a job? We live in a time when our liberties are being eroded in countless ways. If we do not stand up and speak out now, those that are seeking to take our liberties away will just continue to push the envelope. Eventually, we could find ourselves living in a beast system society in which we don't have any liberties left at all. A new bill has been introduced in Canada, which has some extremely alarming implications. According to the Canadian Constitution Foundation, this bill will allow the government to secretly order telecommunication services providers like TELUS, Bell, and Rogers to stop providing services to individual Canadians. The minister would be allowed to make such an order if she has reasonable grounds to believe that it is necessary to do so to secure the Canadian telecommunications system against any threat, including that of interference, manipulation, disruption, or degradation. How would you feel if some faceless government bureaucrat decided that you are no longer allowed to have a phone or internet service because you decided to share something on social media that was deemed to be misinformation? Well, the Liberal government in Canada keeps on telling us how dangerous misinformation is. And this bill would allow the government to cut off service based on any threat to the Canadian telecommunication service. The following is what Section 15.2 of the bill actually says. There are reasonable grounds to believe that it is necessary to do so to secure the Canadian telecommunications system against any threat, including that of interference, manipulation, disruption of degradation. The minister may, by order and after consultation with the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness and with the person the minister considers appropriate, A. Prohibit a telecommunications service provider from providing any service to any specified person, including a telecommunications service provider, and B. Direct a telecommunications service provider to suspend providing for a specified period any service to any specified person, including a telecommunications service provider. In addition, according to this bill, the government does not even have to inform you that your service is being cut off. And if you are not willing to comply with the government's order, you can face an extremely large fine. An individual who does not comply, including by failing to keep the order secret, could face fines of $25,000 first and $50,000 for subsequent contraventions. Businesses could face fines of up to $10 million for the first and up to $15 million for the second. Now that the truth about the bill is getting out, hopefully it will not pass. Now, over in Europe, a different form of tyranny is being introduced this month, and I had reported on this when it came out. But over in Europe, if you plan to visit the EU country, you will soon be forced to be photographed and fingerprinted. France, Italy, Portugal, the UK, and 25 other countries will begin implementing the new Entry-Exit System, or EES, on October 12th over the course of about 6 months. These European countries will introduce the different elements of the EES in phases, including the collection of biometric data, such as facial image and fingerprints. Once they have collected your biometric data, it will be in their databases forever. This is so wrong, and I am surprised that there hasn't been more of an uproar over this. On the official EU website, they are actually encouraging us to hand over some of our biometric information in advance. Passport control officers will take a photo of your face or scan your fingerprints, and this information will be recorded in a digital file. If you do not intend to surrender your biometric information, you do not get to travel to Europe. It is really that simple. But he goes on to say, personally, I'm even more alarmed about what the UK plans to do. And I reported on this as well. If you are a British citizen and you do not submit to the new digital identification system that will soon be implemented, you will not be allowed to work. Fortunately, large numbers of people are taking a stand against this ridiculous new requirement. In fact, so far over 1.6 million British citizens have signed a petition that states that no one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID system. A lot of people out there are concerned that the things that they have talked about in this article are steps towards implementing the beast system. And without a doubt, we are most definitely living in the end times. So we should certainly be resisting any efforts to erode our liberties. Unfortunately, the Big Brother control grid that is all around us has been steadily growing for a very long time. No generation has ever been watched, monitored, tracked, and manipulated like this generation has been. As AI technology continues to advance at an exponential rate, our overlords will have even more digital tools at their disposal. Hong Kong plans to install tens of thousands of surveillance cameras with AI-powered facial recognition, according to the city's security chief, bringing it closer to China, where authorities often monitor public spaces with cutting-edge technology. The Chinese finance hub has already installed just shy of 4,000 CCTV cameras under a police crime fighting program. That number will increase more than tenfold by 2028, up to a total of around 60,000. Artificial intelligence is already being used to monitor crowds and read license plates, and that technology will naturally be applied to people, such as tracking a criminal suspect. Police say that the Smart View program is needed to safeguard national security and to prevent and detect crimes, crediting the use of CCTV cameras with solving more than 400 cases and scoring 787 arrests since the initiative was launched just last year. Officers will start using real-time facial recognition as early as the end of the year, according to the South China Morning Post. Similar technology has also been adopted in Britain, though critics argue that it grants the government unchecked power to invade privacy on a massive scale. Artificial intelligence, a technology upending nearly every corner of society, is creeping into religion, serving up virtual Jesus and automated sermons, a change drawing mixed reviews from the faithful. Religious chatbots and other faith-based digital tools are growing in number, offering counsel, comfort, and spiritual guidance during an age of rapidly transforming socialization and engagement. One app, which is called Text with Jesus, has thousands of paying subscribers. It lets people ask questions of Mary, Joseph, Jesus, and nearly all 12 of the apostles. The idea is to educate, according to Stephanie Peter, CEO of Catloaf Software, which created the app. I think the name of the software just gives it away. But anyway, she goes on to say this is a new way to address religious issues in an interactive way. Although the app makes clear it uses AI, virtual Moses and Jesus don't recognize that as such when asked a specific question. Peter said that ChatGPT's latest version, ChatGPT-5, on which Text with Jesus is based, follows instructions better than previous interactions. It is also better at staying in whatever character it is supposed to be and can deny more forcibly that it's a bot. He said many people consider the app blasphemous, but it still has received a good rating at the App Store of a 4.7 out of a 5. Online Ministry Catholic Answers said it got a taste of how sensitive all this can be when it launched the animated AI character Father Justin last year. Christopher Castello, the ministry's director of information technology, said a lot of people were offended it was using a priest character. Interesting, but they're not offended that it was using Jesus. Something's wrong with this picture. It goes on to say other major religions have similar apps, such as Dean Buddy for Islam, Vetus AI for Hinduism, and AI Buddha. Most build themselves as interfaces with scripture, not incarnations of actual holiness. In the meantime, Babies could be born without a biological mother after scientists made a huge step forward in helping infertile people have babies. Scientists revealed only last week that they have turned human skin cells into eggs and fertilized them with sperm in the lab for the first time. American experts from Oregon Health and Science University say that the human eggs made from skin cells are ready for fertilization. When the team fertilized the egg with sperm, it began growing into an embryo until the experiment was halted 6 days, the point at which an embryo would be transferred to the womb in IVF. The breakthrough would allow older women struggling to conceive or women who lack eggs for medical reasons to have a baby. It also opens the door for DNA from a man being placed inside a donor egg and fertilized by another man, leading to a baby with 2 biological fathers and no DNA from a woman. It also would allow same-sex couples to have a child genetically related to both partners. The study could also result in an infinite amount of eggs. Dr. Amato told The Telegraph, in theory, the technique could result in limitless number of eggs. The skin cell DNA, however, can come from anyone, even if they personally don't have eggs or remaining eggs. Older women, women after cancer treatment, people born without eggs, meaning men. So it's a way to produce eggs genetically identical to the person providing the skin cell, even if they personally don't have any eggs, and allows them to reproduce to have a genetically related child. With electric air taxi services on the horizon, operators are already flying into secure landing sites in Los Angeles. Traffic dodging aerial hops across big cities could happen as soon as next year, pending approval by the Federal Aviation Administration. And one of the country's largest operators of airplane and helicopter landing sites is now on the hunt for LA locations that can handle the comings and goings of air taxis. The vertiports, as they are called, might be built on open land next to an airport or university, or also on a parking garage or other building rooftop in downtown areas. The company wants to build the infrastructure needed to integrate air travel into congested urban centers as an alternative to stop-and-go car trips. In its search for vertiports, the company is looking for busy surface routes where it should take 30 minutes to get from A to B, but it takes an hour. Now, here is a very interesting report I found on the Daily Mail. Scientists claim to have found evidence of alien genetic manipulation in human DNA, with large sections of genes seemingly inserted into people, potentially affecting millions of humans. Now, if confirmed, the discovery could fundamentally alter our understanding of human evolution and the future of the human race. This is according to the lead researcher, Dr. Max Rappel, the founder and chief executive of the DNA Research Foundation. The study, which has not yet undergone peer review, analyzed DNA from both ordinary people and self-reported alien abductees. In an examination of 581 complete families from the 1000 Genomes Project, they found large sequences of DNA in 11 families that appeared to match neither parent. These anomalies include a cluster of 348 non-parental genetic variants, some of which were children born before 1990, ruling out human gene editing technology such as CRISPR, which only emerged in 2013. The doctor cautioned that his findings are preliminary and require more rigorous analysis. Nevertheless, he believes the implications could be staggering. He said humanity may be undergoing genetic transformation. If confirmed, it could be possible to detect which humans carry an alien DNA, essentially identifying hybrids. So, very interesting news here, and this kind of reminds me of the Nephilim in the book of Genesis. So, in the book of Genesis, we're told that it was actually demons that mated with human women that created the Nephilim, or the giants. I personally believe that the aliens that they're talking about are actually demons. So could it happen again in one form or another? Absolutely. The Bible says that there is nothing new under the sun. So we could be seeing something similar to what happened in the book of Genesis. With that said, those are your headlines for today. I want to hear from all of you. What do you think? Please do leave your comments below. Also, when you have some time, come and visit me on my social media pages, as well as my website at www.cww7news.com. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, God bless and stay safe.